got some major developments on that tonight. But first, House Majority Leader Nancy Pelosi delivered the longest speech in House history today. Apparently, she went on for more than 8 hours in an effort to pressure Congress to give amnesty to illegal immigrants.
So now we have the first Republican president in modern times, the first president, really, who is anti-immigrant. To minister to the needs of God's creation is an act of worship. To ignore those needs is to dishonor the God who made us. We're not asking for something off the wall. It is something that is, yeah, maybe it is off the wall. Maybe the wall is the issue here. Floor vote will occur soon after I yield back. I had no intention of yielding back, Mr. Speaker. Those newcomers, with all of that hope and aspiration, they make America more American.
Well, went on like this for many hours, as we said. She said a lot of things, but one thing Pelosi said was striking. Listen as she describes how her grandson badly wishes he were of a different race. Watch.
I'm reminded of my own grandson. He had a very close friend whose name is Antonio, who's from Guatemala, and he has beautiful tan skin, beautiful brown eyes, and the rest. And this was such a proud day for me because when my grandson blew out the candles on his cake, they said, "Did you make a wish?" And he said, "Yes, I made a wish." He said, "Well, what is your wish?" He said, "I wish I had brown skin and brown eyes like Antonio." So beautiful, so beautiful. The beauty is in the mix.
Was it healthy to hate yourself for the way that God made you? Nancy Pelosi thinks it is. And her delight says everything about the modern Democratic Party. Certain races are good, others are bad, so bad that it's considered beautiful to hate your own innate appearance and want it changed. And that, Pelosi is saying, is one of the main reasons she supports mass immigration. So America will look different, and in her view, better than it does now. Now, whatever you think of that idea, it is a genuinely radical sentiment. Nobody has said anything like that on the House floor for a long time. They used to, but they don't anymore, and for good reason. Elevating one race over another is the definition of bigotry. Pelosi may not be sharp enough to understand the consequences of what she just said. She may not even know what she's saying. But if you want to live in a country where everyone doesn't hate everyone else for the color of their skin, you ought not to say things like that. Democrats should stop talking like this in public. In the White House, meanwhile, Chief of Staff John Kelly is being attacked for saying that hundreds of thousands of eligible legal immigrants likely didn't sign up for DACA, in part because some of them may have been too lazy. Watch.
There are 690,000 official DACA registrants, and the president sent over what amounts to be 2.5 times that number to 1.8 million. The difference between 690 and 1.8 million were the people that some would say were too afraid to sign up, others would say were too lazy to get off their but they didn't sign up.
Well, the left is howling, of course, and jumping up and down like the hyenas they are. But think about what he said. DACA did exist for 5 years. It was a special carve-out for people brought here illegally under the age of 18. And there were a lot of ways the federal government was helping people sign up for it. There were programs and translators and lawyers, a lot of things available to help immigrants apply. And yet more than 1 million people who are eligible to apply to the program failed to do so. Why is that exactly? And what does it tell us about them? Roberto Hernandez is an immigration activist. He joins us tonight. Roberto, thanks for coming on.
Hey, Tucker, how you doing?
I'm doing great. So I think it's a really interesting question. So the majority of the people who were eligible for this program, which I think is unconstitutional in the first place, but it existed, they didn't sign up for the program. Now, maybe some say they were lazy. I don't think that's the explanation. I think they just didn't care. They didn't care about our law. They didn't care about following the rules in a country that's not theirs. And so they didn't. And I think that's worse than laziness, honestly.
You know, Tucker, ay Dios mío. Oh, my God. You know, first of all, I can't believe John Kelly, the chief of staff of the White House of this country, using that kind of language. You know, to me, it's like, it reminds me of the bullies in 3rd grade. And if you really look at why did people not apply? People are afraid, Tucker. Look at all the ICE raids that are going on in this country right now.
But this wasn't. This is not right now.
The fear
this
that people are living in right now.
Right. Okay.
You know, as
so wait, can I just ask you a question?
Brown skin that we are.
Don't give me the skin color thing. It's not about that. It's nothing to do with that. These are citizens of other countries.
They're not picking on any other race. They're not picking on any other race. You know how many other
you are
people are here
single-handedly
that are
making
illegal,
me
that
very
are not Latinos
against
or from
letting
Mexico?
any of these people become citizens because you're making it a racial question when it's a question of citizenship. So these people are here illegally. Obama said, look, I'm going to let you stay under this program. I'm going to help you sign up under the Obama administration, not Trump, Obama, 5 years ago. And most of them didn't sign up. And now Trump is saying, I'm giving you citizenship anyway, which I totally disagree with, but whatever. That's the fact. But the point is, they didn't sign up. So what were they afraid of? The Obama people were like, we're helping you, give you a translator, and you still won't do it? Why? Because you don't care. That's why. You don't care about being legal. What's the other explanation?
But let's look. Okay, you bring up Trump. Now that you bring up Trump, let's talk about Trump.
It was under Obama, man.
It is, because you know what? He created a crisis for DACA. Simple. It wasn't a crisis until he made it a crisis.
Okay, but Roberto,
it's a distraction for this country.
Okay,
when we have so many other issues and crises that we have in this country, that should not be the topic of this subject of what needs to be fixed in this country.
I couldn't agree with you more. You know, we found common ground on that, but
he's using it as blackmail.
Let me ask you a question. Can you? Look. If I have one goal for this segment, it's to get you to. I want you to just answer this one question. Under Barack Obama, who offered this program to people here illegally, he said, look, I'm going to let you stay, give you legal status, and I'm going to help you sign up for it. There's nothing I won't do to help you sign up for it. And most of them said, not interested. I'm turning down the programs, I'm turning down the translators, the safe spaces you're giving me. Why? Don't tell me it's they were afraid. He was asking them to sign up and helping them, and they didn't. What's the answer? Why didn't they do that under Barack Obama? Honestly.
Well, that was temporary. And Barack Obama, quite candidly, failed by not getting immigration reform done the first year.
You're not going to answer my question, are you?
No, I am. I'm trying to answer your question. Didn't Barack Obama promise that he was going to do immigration reform the first year that he was in office?
Does the president make the laws in this country, or does the Congress? Do you know?
It's Congress. But
right, there you go. Good.
Obama also had Democratic control House. Nancy Pelosi was the head of that. He also had the Senate that was Democratic control.
Okay, so you're not answering my question. No, you're not answering my question. It's a really interesting question. I think it tells you a lot about this population that we're about to give citizenship to, who will be voting in our next election, or at some subsequent election. So I hope we can get to the bottom of that, because it tells us a lot. Roberto, thank you very much. Good to see you tonight. Mr. Hernandez, thanks for coming on. So,
thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you. My guess would be, I don't know what's going to happen, of course, but my guess would be that most immigrants, legal or otherwise, come to this country to work, not to become political activists. So most of them probably just going to work, right? I mean, how many people are actually going to take part in this, would you say?
Well, here in San Francisco, we're very political. You're from San Francisco, so you know exactly how we operate here and how we organize, and we stand up and we rise up. And we're not going to stand for having, the Trump administration just say, okay, we're going to build a wall, we're going to deport 11 million people who, just like you just said, are hardworking people. If you look at the number of immigrants that work in the fields here in the state of California, you're talking about hundreds and thousands of them. Who is going to pick the crops here in the state of California if you suddenly all decide to, like they want to, deport all the immigrants that work in the fields here in California? And so we are, on Monday, May 1st, here in San Francisco, are going to stand up and we're going to protest. And it's not only about the deportations, but also this wall that he wants to build between Mexico and the United States. You don't build a wall between your neighbors. All these walls around the world have been torn down.
Wait, hold on. Wait a second. Look, there's a huge distinction, of course, between immigrants and illegal immigrants. But in the case of illegal immigrants, and those are the ones you say are being targeted by the Trump administration, don't you think it's a little much to sneak into someone else's country illegally and then protest their government. What country would put up with that? What sane country would allow that to happen?
But let's go back to history. The Native Americans this is their land. You and I and everybody else is an immigrant. This is Native American land. Did they ever ask you for a green card?
I was born about a mile from where you're standing right now.
It's like
wait, hold on.
This government has created this control system about who they let in and who they don't allow to come in. This is a free country.
Name a government. Wait, stop. Wait. No, okay, I got it.
People have always been allowed to come here.
You're throwing so much stuff out here, Roberto, that just give me a chance to respond. Name a government on planet Earth that doesn't control or attempt to control who comes into its country. Has there ever been a government like that anywhere?
Yeah, you go to Tijuana, San Diego, and you can cross the border from the United States into Mexico without no problem. You go from, and I've done it, I've gone from Mexico to Guatemala, I wasn't even asked for a passport, just walk right in. There are many countries that do that.
There are countries that allow sorry, I'm not trying to be mean. There are countries that allow anybody who wants to come in and live and work there. Let me clarify that. There is no such country. There has never been such a country. What you're describing is a place with no government, because the purpose of a government is to define and defend the borders. And so that's never happened.
All right,
American Indians or not.
So let's talk about this government that you're talking about. You know, 11 years ago, we had the exact same protests that we're doing on May 1st in 2006. You remember that? May 1st, 2006? And
vaguely.
Millions of people across the country protested, and our government failed to do comprehensive reform. Obama promised us his first year in office, his second year in office. He got elected again. He promised it. All the finger pointing went back between Congress
People who were
and the
here
Senate
illegally?
and the president. Yeah, and so, you know,
can I speak? I'm sorry.
Accountable
They're not citizens.
the Congress and Senate and the president for not doing their job.
How can,
and it's unfair that all of a sudden you get Trump in office and he's going to say, okay, well, we're getting rid of all 11 million people. You're breaking up families.
Okay, I got it.
You're breaking up families.
Okay.
Hard-working people.
Let me ask you one question, and that is, why would a non-citizen who is not allowed to be here, who does not have the right to vote, have a say in how the U.S. government operates?
Very simple. It's you have a farm worker who's the hardest working individual on this planet. Don't you believe he has the right to have a say?
No. And by the way, I admire how hard people.
Well, then you and I disagree, because
I'm not against
I've seen farm workers and I've seen the hard work that they do in this country.
Okay. I think the California schools have declined in quality since I left. Roberto, thanks a lot. It's good to see you tonight.